Welcome to Mother Daughter Projects. I'm Steph.
I'm Vicki, and today we're making a DIY dog screen door.
5 years ago, I adopted my first dog, and to let her in my backyard, I'd open my sliding door and then I'd open the porch door. And this was not a huge deal, but then I got a second dog and it became a bigger deal. So 2 years ago, I actually got a magnetic screen door to put in front of my sliding door, and this made it easier for the dogs to go in and out, and then I would just prop open my porch door. But over time, wind would blow the porch door and the hinges started to get damaged, so I needed a better solution. So 5 years later, I think I figured out the perfect solution. So let's show you how we made this. My original idea was to buy another pre-made magnetic screen that attaches to the door frame. So here we are trying to figure out how that would work and what we would need to cut off. But we quickly realized that was going to take a lot of effort and that wouldn't work too well, so Mom decided to make her own. We looked in the attic, but we didn't find any extra screen, but we did find this old sliding screen door that was just enough screen for this project. We started by washing and drying it, then cutting the screen out with a razor blade. We could have also purchased a roll of screen from the hardware store. Mom wrote down the measurements of the opening and what the finished panel needed to be, which included the edges plus the top and bottom. First, Mom cut the finished length with a rotary cutter. Then she carefully cut the panel in half. The only thing Mom bought for this project was a half yard of ripstop nylon, which is weather resistant. We're reusing the magnets from an old magnetic screen door and the self-stick velcro from the new screen that we purchased but didn't use. Here Mom is marking and cutting 3-inch strips, which will be used to bind all the edges. Mom is of course using fabric scissors because if you know, you know. Here Mom is using clips to hold the binding in place on each of the front edges. She's stitching the binding onto the edge of the screen and finger pressing it over. Then she used a press cloth with an iron at the lowest setting to press the binding into place. Because ripstop nylon can melt easily, it's important to use low temp and a pressing cloth. Next, she trimmed the ends, then marked a 1/2 inch from the free edge and folded this over. Again, she's using clips so not to make holes in the ripstop. Then she stitched the folded edge to secure it. Next, she placed the sewn folded edge so that it matched up with the other edge of the binding, clipping the magnets into place along the edge. The magnets are about 2 finger widths apart. Magnets need to be placed so they attract rather than repel each other, so watch that orientation. Off camera, she used a zipper foot and stitched close to the magnets. Success, they work. Here she's making binding for the top, outside, and bottom edges. The nylon is folded a 1/2 inch on each side, then folded over and pressed into place. The binding is kept folded and the raw edges of the screen are encased in the binding. She did the same for all the raw screen edges, folding the raw edges of the ripstop to finish the edge when she got to an ending point. She took it to the sewing machine and stitched the binding, adding the velcro at the same time. She switched back to the regular pressure foot to sew this step. With the panel done, we started by cleaning the door where the velcro will be stuck. And of course, Tosh needed us to open the door one last time. We checked the fit of the panel, then added velcro to the door. We took the backing off and put it into place, starting with the top. We made sure not to pull it too tight, so we didn't separate the magnets from the middle. Once we could see the panel worked, we removed the spline and screen from the door. We will keep this panel if we ever need to add it back to the door in the future. Mom made some final adjustments to the magnets and velcro placement. Time to teach Tosh how to use the door. With one of us on each side with treats in hand, it didn't take her long to get the hang of it.
Good girl, so smart.
Here's the full door with the panel in place. And the reason we attached it to the outside is because the door closer hardware is on the other side and we wouldn't be able to fit it around that. What we learned! Now we installed this a few weeks ago and it has worked really well. All I have to do is slide open the door and Tosh will go out, do her thing, and then come right back in. So I will say it is perfect. And when we sit on the porch, now we don't have to leave the whole door open so we don't get bugs in there. So it's perfect.
The biggest difficulty I had when constructing this insert was what to do with those magnets. Because I didn't take apart the old one, wasn't sure how they actually engineered that. So I just took a guess and I just stitched really close to those magnets, hoping they would just stay in place. Well, they didn't. They just all slowly fell down to the bottom. So the solution was to put them all back in place and take a tiny little stitch and under each one to keep them in place. Now, if I was to do this again, I would make a separate channel, secure those in the channel, and then put that inside the binding.
Now you might notice that the bottom gets stuck sometimes when Tosh comes back in the door. It's not a huge deal, I just kind of push it and it goes back in place. But if it becomes an issue, we'll probably put some more weight down at the bottom or make it a little bit more rigid so it holds in place a little bit better.
Now, I know what you're thinking. If a dog can get out and back in, what about other animals? Well, the only thing we ever had come in really on a regular basis were birds, because the door was all fully open and sometimes it'd take a while for those to get out. So we've had no issues with leaves blowing in or other animals coming in, definitely no birds coming in. So actually it's worked really well. If it starts to be a problem, then we'll address that and then we'll let you know what we did to address it.
And if you like the little cameo by Tosh in today's video, then you might want to check out my second YouTube channel. It's called Hi, I'm Steph, and I share a lot of Greyhound content and some kayaking content. So I'll put a link to that below. Thanks for joining. If you want to see more projects from us, be sure to visit us at motherdaughterprojects.com. And if you want to see what we're doing on a weekly basis, join our weekly newsletter. It's free to sign up and we'll put a link to it right here.